Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Haxen Hunt. Today's video, we are doing 3 sights against each other. We've got the HHA Tetra, we've got the Spothogg Fast Eddie XL, and we've got Axcell Landslide. So those 3 sights up against each other. I have them mounted on 3 different bows. We've got the HHA mounted here on my V3. Speaking of my V3, this could be yours. All you gotta do is buy a hat and you could win the bow. There's only 250 entries. Should go really quick. Should be done by the end of the month. And you can take this V3 home for you. So that being said, guys, there's the V3 with the HHA. Here is my RX-7 Ultra with the Spothogg Fast Eddie XL. RX-7 Ultra with that Axcell Landslide. So we are actually gonna start right here with the Landslide. All I've done is thrown them on the bow. I really want to see how easy each of them are to sight in. So if you want to see these 3 sights up against each other, sighting them in, trying to figure out which one is the easiest, which one's the best. So we're going to sight them all in and show you guys kind of the process that it takes for each of these, see which one's the quickest and most user-friendly. All right, guys, really quick, want to let you know I'm giving away my Matthews V3 to one of you guys. There are only 250 entries. All you gotta do is go to haxenhunt.com, buy a hat, any hat, doesn't matter. Buy a hat, win a bow. So any hat you want on my website, it's gonna get you entered in automatically to win my personal V3. So appreciate your guys' support. Again, go to haxenhunt.com and buy a hat to win this bow. Appreciate it, guys. Let's get back to the video. Okay, first up, we are gonna do the Axcell Landslide. We have this thing set on here. The really cool thing about the Landslide is you can adjust your stop. It already comes with the stop on here. So I actually adjusted that, just kind of guessing where I thought 20 might be. So boom, right there. That's the stop on the slide. You can bring it down even lower as well. So after putting my arrow here, I'm gonna guess 20 is gonna be like probably roughly right in here. So that being said, we're just gonna shoot the 20 and then we'll adjust the sight housing, or the scope housing, to where that lines up with the top of that sight tape. So sitting back. Okay, it looks like we are about 6 inches high. So if it's high, move it high. So we're gonna come up just a little bit. Let's shoot another arrow. I just eyeballed my windage when I mounted these on my bow. I basically will I'll put an arrow down and I'll look right down the arrow with the string. And if those pins line up, it's gonna be fairly close. So kind of a little tip there. Okay, still just a little high. Boom, spot on. So we're about 1 inch to the left, so we're gonna adjust our windage. Here on the Landslide, I'll show you. It's quick and easy. I had that on there pretty tight. So adjust or loosen this set screw, and that's gonna allow you to adjust your windage. You also have a locking mechanism right here on your windage. So when it's out, you can't do your micro adjust. When it's in, you can, and we need to go left, just a touch. Lock that and then make sure you tighten that back down. So boom, right there, that Landslide is sighted in with that top pin at 20. I don't really like having my 20 right there in the center of the housing. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna bring this 20 up higher. So we're gonna adjust that top pin and bring it higher in the sight housing. How you do that is you wanna loosen your pin right here, these Allens. Let this focus. There's 3 Allens right here. It goes top, middle, bottom. So I just loosen that top one. And now what you're gonna do is use your micro adjust right here. And we're gonna bring, see if you can watch that go up. We're gonna bring that up. We are going to have that 20. We're gonna put that 20 right about there in that sight housing. Lock that down. All right, so since I moved that, I want the sight housing all the way down, quite a bit lower. So how I'm gonna do that to adjust this entire thing, we're gonna loosen or take these 2 screws out and move that entire housing down to the other mounting brackets there. All right, just gonna take this off so you guys can see. So we're gonna take this one off, couple Allens here, is we're gonna move that entire slide higher up. So there's a little pin you can see right there that will line up with one of the holes. And then yeah, we're gonna put this all the way at the top. And then just make sure that you tighten those down all the way. Don't never on a site, never crank on something and over tighten it. Just enough that it's snug, but has enough tension on it that it's not gonna go anywhere. I'm gonna throw this back here on the bow, on the middle slot. We're gonna grab those arrows and see where that 20 is hitting. Got my arrows. We've got the sight adjusted where I think I'm gonna want it. Okay, so it is hitting quite a bit high. So I think I moved it a little too far high. I'm actually gonna adjust that and come down one notch and we'll be golden. All right, so I went ahead and changed that spot where it was sitting. So I had it in that top thread. I dropped it down one. That should give us maybe just enough. If not, I think I might just drop the pin itself just a little bit more. Okay, now we can fine tune it because it is pretty dang close. Let's draw that back, do it one more time. All right, we are only about maybe max 2 inches high. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna raise that single pin up just a tad. So let's just verify that last little movement that I made with that single, just the pin itself, and just make sure that we are good on our elevation. And quick little tip, I only use 3 arrows to sight in. I feel like when you have more than 3 arrows, you're shooting too much and you're not gonna be as consistent. So 3 arrows makes you walk back to the target, take a little rest, shoot 3 arrows. For me, I just feel like it helps me hold more steady and be more consistent. Okay, so I just raised that pin up just a hair bit more. Let's do this 3rd arrow. Okay, that one I am happy with. So, Landslide, it is sighted in for 20. And basically with the Landslide, to get your sight tape, has a blank sight tape here on it. All you're gonna do is drop back to 30 yards. You're gonna scroll that down, kind of guess where you think it's gonna be. Shoot it, find your elevation, mark it. Go to 40, mark it. Go to 50, mark it. 60, mark it. I usually try to get to about 60 yards. And then that's gonna give you enough data to then grab a sight tape. And in this case, I was gonna say printed sight tape on paper. Landslide comes with both paper as well as a metal sight tape. I left those back at the house. I will show you because they're pretty freaking legit. That you can have that metal sight tape. I mean, it's not like I've never had a paper sight tape rot out or get messed up in weather, but I guess it's always a possibility. So having that metal sight tape's pretty sweet. I'm gonna grab these arrows and then we are going to do the 20-yard pin here on the HHA setup on my Matthews V3. Okay, so now we've got that HHA Tetra set up on my Matthews V3. This is kind of where I'm gonna estimate it being set up for 20 yards as far as the elevation goes. I feel like, so where the sight tape ends, where that bottoms out, I feel like is gonna be way too high. It's gonna roughly be right there, I would say, for my 20. So that being said, very similar to what we did on that Landslide, we're gonna do to this Tetra. So HHA has it, so all you gotta do is loosen these 2 screws. You don't have to completely pull them out, which I personally think is a little bit better and easier to use, because now I can just slide that up and down that entire rail. And so we're gonna bring it down to probably like right here, test this out and see where this is hitting. So see, quite a bit faster with this HHA than it was on that Landslide. to make that adjustment. So sliding them in, or, you know, doing some work on them, something to keep in consideration. So now we're gonna shoot this for 20, see where this lands, see where this ends up. Perfect. We are just a tad low. Okay, grouped right there with it. So what I am going to do, since we're only about an inch low, take this off, it makes it a little bit easier. Really nice thing having one of these knobs take your sight on and off. It just makes it a lot quicker and easier to sight stuff in. So both the this Tetra as well as that Landslide have that. They have indicator lines. There's no micro adjust here, so I'm just gonna slide it down probably one line, and I'm gonna hold that, tighten that down. If it's shooting low, move it low. Always chase your arrow. Okay, that is perfect elevation. So I would say the HHA right there, just getting that 20 is quite a bit faster than what I could get with the Landslide, due to the ability just to loosen those screws and slide it and not have to pull them all the way out, adjust it in a whole different bracket. That I feel like this makes it just a little bit easier to kind of dial it in quicker. So that being said, there's our 20 right there on the HHA. Next up, we're gonna grab the Spothogg, and we're gonna get that Spothogg set up. Our Spothogg is built very similar to what that Landslide is. So that being said, I do need to change where the sight housing is sitting. So we're gonna grab our set of Allens real quick. All right, so we actually have to adjust the sight housing down here on the Spothogg. Very similar to how that Landslide is, where you have to pull these two screws completely out and then adjust on what thread that you want to go in. However, there is 2 additional screws to the Spothogg. There's a set screw on each side of this top bolt that you have to loosen out. We can take out this bolt. I'm just gonna set it all the way down at the bottom, as low as it can go, kind of close to where I'm gonna need it. So the use of those 2 set screws is actually to adjust your second axis. So with that bolt being loose, you can slide this from either side and tilt it back and forth. So so if you have to adjust where your sight housing is sitting, remember that's going to screw up one of your axes. So not really in love with that idea, just because I like to be able to make those adjustments without screwing up an axis. Okay, so here is 20 with the Spothogg Fast Eddie XL. Let's take the first shot. And one thing that I don't love about the Fast Eddie, I'll show you. So when you have this thing loosened, it's here against the wheel, and like, I don't know, makes a decent click, as well as if it's like on it, I don't know. Just being a little nitpicky about it, I would say. Okay, we are shooting quite a bit low and left. So to get my windage, you are going to loosen right here, and we're gonna slide to the left quite a bit. Okay, and then tighten that. That micro adjust on the windage, super quick, super easy. Built pretty bulletproof on the Fast Eddie. Okay, we're gonna adjust that just a little more left. All right, so what I'm gonna adjust here on the Fast Eddie is not putting the sight housing down all the way. So Spothogg has a bottom stop, so that way it's a hard stop at 20 yards. And you just have to mount it on. Unfortunately, I accidentally left that at my house, so I don't have it on me right now. So I'll show you why I'm moving this. Okay, so I moved that back up one slot. As you can see, there is a slot there that I can drop that down. But that hard stop, I can clamp on right to the bottom of that. So that's going to be basically as low or as high as my sight is gonna go, is right there. All right, so now that I have that adjustment made, we're gonna see where this is hitting on the target with the Fast Eddie. Perfect elevation. Okay, we are good there. So that being said, I had beforehand, show you, stuck the calibration tape on the Fast Eddie. That is not what you want to do. You want to find your 20 and then put on your calibration. That way you're not peeling it off like this and putting it back on. The Fast Eddie right here is where my 20 is that top one. I'm gonna take my calibration tape and put that in line with that top marker. Right there, I've got my calibration tape set on 20. You sight in 20, you shoot 60, and then you're sighted into from 20 yards out to 100 yards. So Spothogg does make that really, really simple. And this thing is rock solid. Absolutely love how solid that is. So the way that these sight tapes are gonna work, the two that are very similar, the HHA and the Spothogg. You shoot 20, you shoot 60, it'll give you a number on your sight tape, what number you need to pick out of the sight tapes that they send you. So we're gonna start here with the HHA, and I'm just gonna guess where 60 should be. So I have my 20 set up at 0 on the sight tape scale, and I'm gonna guess roughly about 50, number 50 for 60 yards. So let's draw this thing back and see where that puts us. Okay, very, very close. Looks like we are probably 3 inches low. So I'm gonna drop that to number 53. I believe that one was pretty spot on as far as elevation goes. Spot on elevation. So that HHA was very, very fast to sight in. So basically I would, which I accidentally left all of my sight tapes at the house. So sight tape number 53 is the sight tape I would need to put on this HHA. So that would give me 20 yards all the way to 100 yards already sighted in. So super, super simple. The thing that I like about this HHA is how simple it is built. The micro adjust key is super simple. I like that you can adjust, just kind of slide that entire scope housing up and down without having to twist your wheel. And then the only thing that I kind of struggle with is the shading of the pins. So this is kind of like threaded. I don't know if this is, one got mixed up or messed up or something, but anyway, that kind of threads on and off, but like it's not very smooth. It's supposed to like kind of thread out, kind of pull it and push it type of thing. There you go. Oh. So it's not like the smoothest, so that shades those fibers there when it's super, super sunny, and then you can allow a little bit more light there to your pin. So that's the only thing I've really ran into an issue with this thing. It locks really, really solid. Everything's pretty, pretty self-explanatory. Nothing too crazy. So that HHA right there, this one was probably the fastest sighting in so far. So pretty pumped on how that one turned out. Let's grab the Fast Eddie and see where that one's sighting in at. All right, so here is the Fast Eddie, and we have our 20, right? Okay, so there's our 20. I'm gonna say roughly, that would be sight tape 24, so that's what I'm gonna guess right now for 60 yards. Let's see where this one ends up. Okay, we are shooting quite a bit low, so let's just drop that down. Let's go to 18. I believe that one was pretty money. Let's check that. 2 shots. We are a hair bit low, so let's do a third shot real quick. That one looked money. Okay, perfect. So Spothogg now sighted in 20 to 100. All I got to do is change out this sight tape and put on sight tape number 17. I would even feel comfortable going 18 because it was this far low. So 17 to 18, either one is I think gonna be all right. The thing that I like about this Spothogg is how robust this is. I mean, this thing is super, super solid, and you have quite a few different adjustments that you can, for your windage, you can adjust that, you know, pretty heavily in these different settings there with that bracket. The thing that I didn't really love is adjusting your windage without scrolling it. So moving that entire sight housing up and down, pulling out your axis screws, then pulling that out, then adjusting it. So it's not terrible, but like it wasn't the fastest. The HHA was a little bit quicker. All right, so time for that Landslide. The one thing that's different about the Landslide is it is just a blank sight tape that they give you that you just mark your hashes on. So I'm just gonna act like it is a 3-pin sight. I'm just gonna act like it's a 1-pin, and I'm just gonna use that top pin for my 20. Now I'm gonna drop it down to 60, and that's actually gonna give me enough data to know what sight tape. So it's very, very similar. It's just not gonna tell me, okay, sight tape number 18, use that one. It's more like, okay, which 20 to 60 does that line up? Which sight tape does that line up to be, you know, matching with? So we are going to try right here with that top pin, see if this gets me right where 60's at. Okay, that one, perfect, absolutely perfect windage, but we are probably about 6 inches high. Money for my elevation. So basically I would take a marker, make a mark right there on my tape, which my pen I left, but you can just imprint it there with your fingernail. So that is my 60 mark. All right, so now we're gonna take these back to the house. We're gonna find the right sight tape and we'll throw them on. They're gonna be ready to go. The thing that I like about the Landslide is that you have the option to put on metal sight tapes. I just think that's really cool. I don't think it's necessarily a necessity, but I think it's just kind of a cool addition, as well as you can change these indicator pins on your sight tape to where it can line up with different things, you know, depending on where your pins are lining up. So I feel like that's kind of nice. There's a lot of adjustments. The one thing that I don't really love, let's see if the camera will pick it up, but like, it's very like, I don't know, it doesn't seem bulletproof. I feel like the way that I kind of treat my sights out in the woods, I feel like this would get absolutely beat up on a target bow or something, you know, that you're just shooting 3D with. I feel like it would be a little bit better, but like out in the hunting, I just feel like something on this, personally, for me, the way I hunt and use my gear, something on this would give, it would break. So that being said, I mean, it's still a great sight. I still think it's built very good. Between these 3 sights, the Landslide, I'm not like super like stoked about it. It's nice, but it's not like a wow factor. I think between the Fast Eddie and the HHA are going to be the top 2 sights. So the Fast Eddie, super robust. I mean, that thing is built like a brick. Like, there's nothing with this Fast Eddie that is like loose, moving at all. This thing is built super, super solid. But same with this HHA. I mean, the only thing I really, it has a little bit more movement than that Spothogg. So that Spothogg, I would say 100% the most durable sight out of these 3. Hands down, there's not even a competition. The HHA was definitely the fastest to sight in, being able to just unscrew those 2 screws, adjust your elevation, find your 60. So that's super nice. The only thing I don't love about the HHA is going to be the sunshade. It just, I don't know, it doesn't work very well. It has its purpose. I don't know, it just, because it's supposed to like, there you go. Basically, it's lined up like that, and it should just, you know, with a couple twists, I don't know, it's just not the best. All of them have the quick detach on the dovetail, so props to all of them for that. But honestly, it's kind of a tie. There's things I don't like about either one of these, and there's stuff I do like about both of these. and it's really gonna come down to what you want. You got a little bit more weight up with that Spothogg. That Tetra's a little bit lighter, and that Landslide is extremely light, very well put together and thought. You know, the thought of it's very, oh, the sunshade. Okay, so the sunshade on that XL doesn't cover all of the fibers, but it's gonna cover a specific spot. So, you know, if the sun's coming down here, you could kind of turn that. Kind of cool idea, but I feel like I want them shaded or not shaded, half, whatever, not really like, okay, where's the sun at today? So that's why I'm thinking this one's gonna be better for your on the range 3D target shooting type of stuff rather than hunting. So those 3 sights are some of the top 3 sights that have been requested to shoot against each other. And honestly, I'm kind of torn. If I was to pick a sight today to buy out of these 3, I'd probably go, gosh, just the easeability of that HHA Tetra. I liked it. It's light, it's sleek, it's small, it's built very tough, and it was super quick and easy to sight in. So honestly, out of these 3 sights, I'd probably take the HHA. I really enjoyed shooting that. Nothing against the other sights. I think they're all 3 great sights, but personally, for how it just worked out for me, that HHA was pretty solid. So that being said, guys, really appreciate you guys' support. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and like the video. Comment what other ones you want to see, what other sights, if you want the HHA up against a different site, the Dialed, Trophy Ridge, any other site that you know that I have or can get my hands on. Let me know in the comments below, and really appreciate you guys' support. We will catch you guys next time.